Good afternoon, my people. What is going on, Wealth Our Way Nation? It is your main man, Charles Tank Harris, the founder and chief visionary officer of the financial literacy platform, Wealth Our Way, where our motto is wealth is not only for the wealthy. I welcome each and every one of you to episode 125. You know, every year I promised you that I would do a month dedicated to getting people into homes, buying homes, investing in homes, just understanding the value of real estate as an asset class and getting out of the non-wealth building way of living. But before I get into that, we are going to do what I always do, which is to practice the attitude of gratitude as I say thank you to each and every one of you who are here with me live as I stream across the Wealth Our Way Facebook and YouTube platforms. I want to give that Wealth Our Way Nation salute to all of the members of Wild Nation who watched the pre-recorded version of this episode overnight, over the weekend, or wherever you can squeeze 15 minutes of financial literacy in. And then a heartfelt how are you to the good folks on the Life 101 platform who listen to the audio recording of this very here program. So we talked last week on how I'm continuously evolving and hopefully improving the program. This month is Home Buyers Workshop. We are going to have real estate professionals on the Financial Power Hour each Wednesday. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a person come on this Wednesday, and we're going to talk about first-time home buyers. We're going to have a person come on next Wednesday. They're going to talk about all things involved and related to the mortgage process. And then on the third Wednesday, we're going to have a realtor come on and talk to you about the importance of using a real estate professional, because I know there are a lot of us who will click on Zillow, who will click on realtor.com or Trulia, but we really need to understand where a real estate professional's advice plays into our plans. And then on the fourth and final Wednesday, we're going to have all of the people who have been on all month come on, and we'll do a panel style discussion centering around, hey, I got this home. What do I do next? There are so many things that new home buyers need to know, so many things that people who are still going through the process and maybe got declined or need to make some improvements on their credit or get their savings up that they need to know. And we're going to have the professionals all come back the last Wednesday of the month for a panel style discussion where we talk about all of those things. Tomorrow night, I'm super excited about the first cat that's coming on. This gentleman actually reached out to me on social media about doing his podcast. He does a real estate podcast. His name is Mike Headley, and he runs an organization called the Headley Group. So he has a show, his podcast, the Headley Group Real Estate Show. It's a podcast that airs, I want to say, every week, but I'm not sure of the frequency. I know my episode will be on in late March, where we're going to be talking about how investments and the financial landscape in general, the things that I talk about, revolve around real estate or real estate revolves around them. It's a really interesting podcast. And, networking is key. I always tell people your network is your net worth. Having that relationship established with Mike, we got off the recording of his program and I asked him, I said, hey, would you be interested on coming on the Financial Power Hour and sharing with my audience through your experience all the things that need to be known for the first-time home buyer process? And he agreed to do so. I'm truly blessed that that's what he's going to do. And tomorrow night at 6 p.m., we will have Brother Mike Headley on. I also told you guys last week, especially with all of the volatility that has been going on in both the S&P 500, the stock market, as well as the cryptocurrency market, that I would spend Tuesdays of each week just kind of summarizing what happened the previous week in the financial markets, maybe talk about interest rates, and just answer any questions that anybody may have about what's going on in the financial landscape, because things are getting a little crazy out here and people are getting nervous. So we want to make sure that everybody understands what's going on. Last week, since we talked last, the market ticked back up. Now, here's the thing, and you'll learn this about me. A lot of you guys have been coming on to this program for over a year now. And one of the things I can say about financial pundits, and that's what I'm considered, a financial pundit, we're only as good as the consistency in our message And we're only as good as the credibility and the reliability of that message. So anybody, as the saying goes, a broken clock can be right twice a day. If someone's coming on telling you the market's going to crash, the market's going to crash, the market's going to crash for 7 years and the market never crashes, don't give them the Heisman Trophy on the day that it actually crashes, because they've been saying something every day that wasn't true. Don't reward them the one day that they are true. I have told you guys since the beginning of last year that we are in uncharted financial territories. And the reason I use that term uncharted, because a lot of things happen over and over again, and people always want to say this is the first time it's happening. That's normally not the case. This is the first time this is happening, because nobody listening to my voice right now has ever lived through a worldwide, global pandemic, a worldwide pandemic. As a result of our country's financial response to the pandemic, this is affecting everything that we're doing moving forward on a financial level. You don't necessarily have to be an economics major or understand economics to a high level to see that there is a relationship between supply and demand. And when you put more supply into a steady demanding environment, you change the value of things. So we've been talking about inflation since February of last year, maybe even late 2020. If you've been on this program, you've heard me say, look for not just regular inflation, but the word I used was hyperinflation. And what have we seen come to pass? Hyperinflation is going on right now. I've also told you that over the next 12 to 18 months, we're going to experience a 30 to 50% correction in the stock market. And I didn't say that, and I followed up every time I said that with some things that we could do to protect ourselves when this happens, because I'm not here to sell fear. I'm not here to predict doom and gloom. I'm here to give you reality. Now, here's the reality on the other side of me telling you there's going to be a 30 to 50% correction. We have seen over the last 5 years, 80% run up, 85% to be actual, to be correct, 85% run up in the S&P 500. That's a 17% annualized year over year return. Anybody who can Google or has listened to the sound of my voice knows that we expect the S&P to do slightly above 10%. So once again, and I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but I have learned I have to say the same thing over and over again for people to get it. If we are used to, and the market historically returns 10%, but in the short term, and yes, 5 years is a short term, and I'll get to that in a minute, but in the short term, we've seen 17%, you would have to expect that at some point, something is going to equal that out. Something's going to level that out. And we're going to do what's called in mathematics, revert back to the mean. We're going to go back to the average. We've been overly high. We have to go overly low to balance it out. It does not mean sell everything you own. It does not mean that the world's coming to an end. It simply means that the stock market never goes straight up. In math terms, we call that linear. The stock market does not go up linearly. And I always have a hard time saying that word. The stock market goes up erratically. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. I have so many people. One of the very first things we do for new clients is we give them a risk tolerance questionnaire. And we go and try and assess how much risk they're comfortable taking. And invariably, for every client I've ever had, I'm not going to say every client, for 90% of the clients I've had, they always seem to be able to verbalize that they're comfortable taking risk. Well, hello, January was risk. January was the month that said, you think you're confident in the stock market? Bam, here you go. And what we learned was at one point, I think the last time we spoke, which would have been the 25th, not the last time we spoke, but the Tuesday last week when I started going over the financials, on the 25th, the market was down 10% for the year. 10% in the first 25 days. Now, the last 3 or 4 trading days, the market's back up a little bit. So for the year, we're only down, I think, 5.5 or 4.5%. The reality, though, is if you watch the stock market every day, you have already lost the battle. Let me repeat that. If you watch the stock market every day, you've already lost the battle. You guys know I give you glimpses into my personal life every day. I struggle with my weight. I'm always trying to find ways to live a life that doesn't have me worried about food every day. Every time I get excited or sad or mad, that I don't go grab a number 6 from Wendy's. And the reality is once I put myself in that environment where my willpower has to come into play, I've lost. Eventually my willpower is going to fade and I'm going to go to Wendy's or Burger King or McDonald's or one of those other devilly places. When I stay in the house with fully stocked refrigerator, fully stocked cabinets with food that I should be eating, I have a better chance of success. When an alcoholic decides to go sit at a bar for 4 hours, he's lost. Even if he doesn't take a drink in that 4 hours, he's lost because he's already on the path to having another drink. If you want long-term wealth, you have to stop short-term watching the market. You have to stop thinking in the short term. You have to stop turning on MSNBC or CNN Financial. You have to make a plan. You have to follow that plan. There's really nothing else to do. Your plan will tell you when to check on your holdings. Your plan will tell you how to be properly diversified. Your plan will tell you how much to put in. Everything else is noise. People are out here, I know because I'm in this industry, people are out here making noise, creating pain so they can profit off of it. That's really what life in a capitalistic society is all about. Tell them something that will make them think they need what I do. And crashing, plummeting, words like that make you think you need to do something. The reality is that and I'm not because I'm a contrarian or a sadist or anything, I get very excited when I go to my portfolio and the screen is red because I am averaging in every 2 weeks, every month, every quarter into certain investments. And for me, because I don't need my investments today, I'll share my time horizon. My time horizon is 15 years out. So because I don't need my investments today, when I go to put money in, when I go to buy, I want to sell. Don't you want to walk into the Gucci store to buy your Gucci bag and see purses 30% off? Isn't that what you want? Do you want to walk into Gucci and find out that they just raised prices 30% yesterday? You don't want that. And that's what it seems like mentally people aren't grasping. They want to go look at the stock market and see it up when they should be looking at it and say, hey, you know what? It's too expensive to buy today. The only person who needs to be looking at the market and hoping that it's up and up all the time is a person that's done, a person that's ready to get out, a person that's retired. And even that person, if you've just started retirement, you got 20 more years in the market. So yeah, if you're not putting any new money in, you want to see it go up for that 20 years. But the rest of us who are building a nest egg, I want to own 10 Bitcoins. That's me, Charles Tank Harris. Do I want to buy a Bitcoin that is $100,000? Or do I want to buy a Bitcoin that's $20,000? Because it's a lot cheaper to buy the $20,000 one. So I'm happy when it's low because I want to buy them and I want to hold them for 15 years, maybe give them to my children and watch them go up then. So with that being said, you know, the financial markets are going to be choppy for our foreseeable future. They ticked up a little last week, but don't get excited. It's going to be a rough 2022. We are going to focus the month of February, however, on real estate. I also want to mention that February is Insure Your Love month. So we're going to talk a little bit each Thursday about life insurance and how you should be looking, especially with real estate, to make sure you don't stick your loved one with a mortgage or your children have to move out their house because you took the proper precautions and made sure that insurance was in place. So let's not forget that. February is Insure Your Love month nationally. That's not a Wealth Our Way thing. But here at Wealth Our Way, it is the Home Buyers Workshop month. So I look forward to seeing you guys all tomorrow on the Financial Power Hour at 6 p.m. on either YouTube or Facebook. And please, please remember, wealth is not only for the wealthy. Have a great day.